welcome. Thank you so much for coming to ANU's virtual open day. This is a first for us and probably a first for you too, but we're just really glad that everybody out there could show up and join us today to learn a little bit more about the School of Art and Design and what the Bachelor of Visual Arts entails and what your experience would be in being a student here. What we've got this morning is a pretty full slide deck to show you some images. But first I want to start with Acknowledgement of Country. At this, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. And I would like to also acknowledge that the land we are on today was never ceded to the Australian government, and it is and always will be Indigenous land. So what brings us here? Oh, let's just go over a little bit of the functionality of the webinar. So this webinar will be recorded, but your microphone has been automatically muted and your camera is also muted, so you will not be recorded, but my presentation will be recorded. Your chat function has been disabled, but you are able to submit a question and receive answers. You should see a Q&A button on the bottom of your screen. And please note that questions can be sent anonymously by checking the anonymous box before submitting. To ask a question, you can also just raise your hand in the chat function. We are able to unmute you, but please remember to also unmute from your end before asking the question when applicable. I have two assistants behind the curtains today who will be looking at your questions and trying to answer them in real time. If you type in a question, I won't be able to see your questions until the end of the presentation, and then I can verbally answer questions live that are still remaining. So without further ado, I'm presuming that you're here today with me because you want to be an artist. And so welcome, you've come to the right place. The School of Art and Design at Australian National University has a long and wonderful history of producing very high quality artists with international reputations and national reputations, and who have gone on to practice in studio practice, but also throughout the arts sector in various roles. So today I'm just going to take you through a little bit about our school and the workshops and disciplines we are excelling in and offer, a little bit about our alumni, a little bit about our staff, and then it's over to questions and answers. So without further ado, I'm going to start with a video. And sorry, I clicked the wrong button. So that's just a little live overview of some of our workshop areas and students and activities. You saw in there a lot of the dynamic things we do, like some students in art critiques, students blowing glass, students coming out for the Enlighten Festival in Canberra, when there's projections on all of our big buildings, national capital type buildings like the museums, the National Library, but also the School of Art was what some of those images were. So why study arts practice? Well, you want to be an artist, but what's that gonna do for you? And why come here and study arts practice? Well, arts practice is actually a very big part of the economics scene in Australia. It's got a very wide sector with jobs out there that you might not have thought about, but also it has a lot of influence and it's a huge part of our cultural life. So being an artist is actually a really important way to contribute to culture and the economy of Australia. So why study arts practice? Exhibitions and museums play an important role in shaping cultural values, and art practice has important political agency. Contemporary art is a very international field and includes many transnational conversations on the questions that matter most in our world. Contemporary art is also very transdisciplinary, and many practitioners work within or collaborate with other fields to tackle super wicked problems. You learn the ability to use, develop, and invent cultural languages and formats. You also learn critical thinking and problem solving while learning to communicate primarily through artistic languages and media. This is very true for many of our staff and practitioners, where our contemporary arts practices are actually linked to bigger issues, like issues around the environment or politics or society. So this is a very big part of what we do, not just making statues for museums. What do you learn when you study visual arts here at the ANU School of Art and Design? Well, first you develop your own artistic practice, your own voice in various media. You learn to make that practice relevant and meaningful for other people. We do that through lots of feedback, lots of critiques, and lots of chances for exposure of your work to your peers and to the public. You prepare for professional creative careers in the cultural sector. You learn to situate your work in relation to art historical and broader cultural movements. Develop your work as part of cultural and intellectual dialogues around social, political, scientific, and environmental issues that concern you. And you acquire the technical skills that you need to realize your ideas. And in particular, the ANU School of Art and Design is stellar at preparing you with those technical skills. Unlike any other Australian institution, we have 10 plus specialty areas where you can delve deeply into materials and get intense studio practice around manipulating those materials. And I'm going to show you some of those shortly. So we have a number of discipline and studio specialization areas, and the staff in those areas is renowned nationally and internationally. So we have art history and theory, of course, to ground your practice and your dialogue around what you are doing. We have ceramics, design, environment studio, furniture, glass, jewelry and object, painting, photography and media arts, print media and drawing, sculpture and spatial practice, and textiles. No other school can offer this kind of depth of specialization and hands-on practical learning at the level the ANU is able to do that. Just so you can get a sense of what it would look like to have a Bachelor of Visual Arts program of study at the ANU, I've posted this chart showing 3 years of study. Now, this chart isn't set in stone as to which semester and what year you might take something, but these are the units you would need to complete. And this is a pretty good indicator of what order you would take things in if you were a single degree student. So as you can see in these kind of peachy Band-Aid colored boxes over on the right, every student at the ANU gets 8 electives in their course of their program that they can take anywhere at the university. You could take biology or music or French, and you can take 8 of those. So that's for everybody. If you're in the single degree program, getting a Bachelor's of Visual Arts. In addition, your regular program is these boxes that are yellow, purple, and aqua colored. So you can see here, everybody takes 4 semesters of an art theory or art history course, and we have a huge menu to choose from of really interesting and exciting courses. One that a lot of my students have really liked is a whole course on the city and everything about a city, aesthetically, socially, and how a city is architecturally, and how that breaks down in terms of art theory and art history. So it's courses like that that you wouldn't really expect are really exciting. The purple courses are all studio courses. So you would go through 1,000 level, 2,000 level, and 3,000 level studio courses as you progress through your learning. Those courses, starting next year, can be you can, as a student, choose to concentrate almost entirely in a single discipline. I'm the head of the furniture workshop, by the way. My name's Ashley Eriksmoen, if I forgot to say that. So you could take entirely furniture-oriented and craft-oriented studio courses if you wanted to concentrate. On the other hand, if you wanted a really broad exposure, you could take a smattering across our studios: painting, print media, furniture, of course, glass, ceramics, and have a really broad understanding of visual arts and contemporary practice. These 2 green ones are interesting. Those are foundation or core classes that are not married to any one discipline, but are more universal and give you the basics in the first year that underlie the principles of art and design. And then in your final year, they give you a connection and exposure to the world and to the community through various engagement topics. So in a nutshell, that's what 3 years looks like for a single degree student. Just if any of you are out there who are thinking of doing the flexible double degree, which is also a really special and exciting part of coming to school at Australia National University, you can have 2 degrees matched up from nearly any other area on the university and complete both degrees in 4 years. And the way we do that is we add 1 year to this schedule, and we take out all of the electives, all of those beigey, peachy colored boxes. They come out, and your second degree goes in all those boxes and in the final year. Of course, we'd reshuffle the deck to make it that you could progress through 1,000s, 2,000s, 3,000s across those 4 years. But a huge number of our students take this opportunity, which is unusual again. So we have, I believe, about 30% of our students are taking 2 degrees at once. I have students that are coming from science and genetics for 1 degree and furniture for their, or Bachelor's of Visual Arts for their 2nd degree. And so you can combine really seemingly disparate subjects, but bring them together so that you're maybe using your art to communicate your science, and you're using your science to influence your art, etc. We have people doing the double degree with business, with marketing, with art theory and art history for kind of a closer mix, and even with the design degree, doing both the Bachelor of Design and the Bachelor of Visual Arts. And that's a very strong 4-year degree to prepare you for the art and design sector. So now we get to some more eye candy here. We're going to look at the studios. So as I've mentioned, we have specialized staff in all of these areas who have outstanding reputations, and we go in depth into these subject areas with courses at all of these subject areas all through the degree. So here we have a little glimpse at the ceramics studio, a glimpse into my furniture studio. Here's a glimpse into glass, hot glass. They also do kiln formed and cold glass, but this is a hot glass image of blowing glass. Here we have an overhead and a close-up view of the jewelry and object workshop. This is not a specific workshop that I'm showing now, but this is the Makerspace at the ANU and the digital fabrication area. We have an alcove off of the furniture studio that houses a large CNC router and a very large laser cutter, which Rachel is operating in this picture. And that is something the students across the university have access to in one of the maker spaces that's located in physics that has 3D printers, laser cutters, etc. All students at the university have access to that. And all students at the university can go to a higher level of orientation and then use our larger equipment in the furniture workshop. So that's our digital makerspace. We have a lot of other digital and type of equipment spread throughout the School of Art, such as a water jet cutter and large format printing equipment, inkjet printers. So on that note, one of the things that we've become really strong at the School of Art and Design is educating across traditional methods, conventional methods, and digital and virtual methods. So we're using the traditions, the really strong traditions of master craftsmanship in our media to address really contemporary problems. So it's very contemporary art done with these traditional media and looking at how to do everything from hand skills all the way to computer generated skills in those media. Here we have a look into the painting studio during a critique where all students regularly put their work up for peer and staff feedback to help direct their work. Here's our photography area. As you can see with these kind of spooky pictures on the right, we actually still have wet photography or wet labs, which means there's actually liquid chemicals and film and dark rooms where students are learning how to develop those films alongside all of the digital processes and animation, video, and things that you would do with the computer. So we're going, like I've indicated before, this kind of full spectrum of the media. So you really understand the history and what's possible with the medium and the material. Here we have the print media and drawing area. The print media area is very large and has a lot of different equipment for etching, for lithograph, for even bookmaking, bookbinding, and various other woodblock prints. They have a large amount of space and go through a large number of processes that you can apply to printmaking. So you get a very full picture of the printmaking scene through that course. Here we have the sculpture studio. Again, they have a lot of different processes they engage in through the sculpture workshop, various kinds of metalworking, including blacksmithing on an anvil, welding, And here we have casting, bronze casting. So we have a good bronze casting facility where they're doing bronze pours for the students, and also for artists in the community commission the studio to do their bronze pours, because we have a very good facility and not everyone has a bronze casting facility out back of their studio. So we're able to provide that. And we have the Textiles Department. So the Textiles Department, again, encompasses a wide variety of media and techniques. Here we see working with string on a form, but they have weaving looms and stitching and various types of dyeing. People gather in one of the courses called Plant and Place, gather material like bark and leaves off of eucalyptus and learn how to make their own natural dyes to dye their fabrics. So we have a very broad range within each specialty of the kinds of techniques we cover. And at the core of every course that we offer is the sketchbook, right, and the visual diary. And this is a traditional visual diary where somebody's putting in pictures, making their own sketches, and taking some notes to try and process what they're seeing. But more and more students are choosing to have their visual diaries through Instagram or through Pinterest or through various other social share platforms where we can capture images on the go and then hashtag our thoughts. So we are always out there observing and looking and integrating and synthesizing those impressions into informing our own work. We have a lot of fun. The students really like being here. The studios are very welcoming places. There's a lot of community engagement with the students, and the students form cohorts across workshops and within workshops. And so while we're very serious about the business of making our art, we love doing it, and we don't forget to have a good time. We also have a lot of opportunities to engage outside of class. For example, this is a course where we took a 3-day weekend down to Kiola on the coast. ANU has a retreat campus on the coast at Kiola. So groups are able to organize to go down there to have a bit of a retreat and make things and use the campus as more of like a camp, an overnight camp. We also, I mentioned the environment studio in the list of discipline areas. That course, that's a set of courses that takes students on country to engage with various indigenous artists and populations and make work on country, and then take notes and continue making work back on campus. So that's a really exciting opportunity that students who do take up that opportunity love that course. As staff here at the ANU, we're really interested in you having exposure and getting a foothold in a professional life. So we do organize for you and with you various activities such as exhibitions where you will get to show your work and help you network. So one of the most important things I believe about actually going to art school instead of just setting up a studio in your garage is the networks you get. So you're going to get networks with people who are established in the arts world through your staff and through your lecturers, but you're also going to build your own networks at the peer-to-peer level, and those networks are invaluable when you get out of school, that you have the peer networks to connect you up with opportunities to give you feedback on what you're doing, because it's hard to survive in a vacuum. And those networks are something that we really value. This is just an example of one of the shows the Furniture Workshop puts on. It's a student-run show that we've done nearly every year. This year is a bit exceptional, so we'll have to do something virtually. But we have disciplines that have shows, we have groups of students that do pop-up shows, and of course we have our kind of famous graduates show at the end of the year every year in late November. And that year we'll be doing that virtually, but in this year, but most years we fill up the entire school with amazing art from our graduating students. The School of Art and Design here is really well located, being in the nation's capital. And so we're able to develop some really solid and worthy partnerships with some of the national institutions, and our students are able to engage with those institutions through courses, through internships, and often through jobs. So we have strong connections with the national museums and galleries in Canberra, and that offers our students access to world-class collections of art and design that are held in our national cultural institutions. For example, the 1000 level, the first year art history and theory courses are in strong partnership with the National Gallery and use their collection actively and meet at the National Gallery in normal times. This year's been a little different. So employment outcomes, yes, you can be an artist and have a good job. So we're not here to put a bunch of starving artists on the street. We're here to make artists that are relevant and viable and sustainable in our communities. So when you graduate with a Bachelor of Visual Art degree, you might pursue a career in some of the following areas. You might go into contemporary art practice, be a bespoke designer maker, go into commercial or industry production of contemporary craft products, go into film production, post-production, and animation, work for museums or private commercial galleries as curators, installers, administrators, or education and outreach coordinators. You could go into arts education, community arts. You could have a creative role in areas such as advertising, manufacturing, or government. And of course, you can continue your studies, pursuing further studies up through the PhD level here at the School of Art and Design, with the goal of entering academia, becoming a tertiary lecturer, such as myself. I'm just going to show you here a few of our alumni who are prominent on the Australian scene, either regionally or nationally or internationally, just to give you an idea of what some of our alum are doing right now. Oops. Here we have Lee Grant, who was a photography major, now a professional photographer, winner of prestigious prizes. We have Chelsea Lemon, a very recent graduate of just a couple years ago from honors, who graduated with a furniture concentration. She's now a designer maker, with her work being retailed in Craft ACT and various other shops around the region. She's the owner of Chelsea Lemon Designs, and she's been the recipient of several artist in residencies opportunities, and she teaches full-time at a Canberra secondary school at Bergman in Canberra. For those of you who are from Canberra, you might have Chelsea Lemon as your teacher if you're going to Bergman right now. So you would know how amazing she is and how much she's been able to get in on the art scene in just a few short years. Jeff Newton is a painting alum. He's a gallerist, meaning he owns and operates a gallery, and it's a leading gallery in Melbourne. So he's taken his knowledge of art to promote other artists and to be a business owner. We have Machushla Robinson, a print media and drawing alum, who's an assistant curator at the New School of Art, in New York. And she was formerly curator of international art at Art Gallery New South Wales. Dean Cross is another quite recent alumni, just 2 years out, or two and a half years out. And Dean, or maybe 3.5 years, sorry. Dean is a sculpture alum, and he also studied contemporary dance. Oh, I'm on a timer here, I guess. And he exhibits nationally and is the winner of our university medal a few years back. We have Cesar Cueva, a gold and silver. We used to call the jewelry and object workshop the gold and silversmithing workshop. And he graduated from there and runs Metal Lab, and, which is a jewelry studio. We have Sky O'Mara, who studied here and now is an arts manager at an Aboriginal Arts Center. So you can see there's such a variety of what people might do. Ian Jones is an internationally known ceramic artist. He co-founded Old St. Luke's studio, and he makes his own work, exhibits his own work, and teaches ceramic courses. Amin Palangi, photography and media arts alum, founder and director of the Persian International Film Festival, and has won, as you can see, awards in the Sydney Film Festival for Best Documentary, in the Canberra Festival. And Rowan Ward is a furniture graduate who operates a successful design company in Chicago, and he actually made a table for former President Obama to give to the former French president as a gift. So very renowned. Then we have our staff. Our staff, as I've mentioned, are very known and very masterful in their areas. So what we have for staff here, I'm just going to click through a few. One of which is Simon Cottrell, who teaches and lectures into jewelry and object. His work is exhibited worldwide in international exhibits. He's a very renowned contemporary jeweler and metalsmith, and he's teaching undergraduate courses and doing his research here. Raquel Ormella in painting is a very acclaimed Australian artist. She's been in many biennales around the world and teaching in painting and convening our honors program. Alison Alder is the head of print media and drawing. She was a key figure in the 1970s in the political printmaking scene, and she brings that expertise into her lecturing with her students. Lucy Irvine is a very recent PhD recipient in sculpture and textiles, and she is being commissioned in several public artworks to make very large scale public artworks that combine the disciplines of textiles and sculpture. Sean Dockeray, he's a lecturer into sculpture and spatial practice, and he was the founder of the Los Angeles nonprofit Telic Arts Exchange, and he specializes in artificial intelligence and image processing. Rowan Nickel is the head of the Jewelry and Object Workshop. He has a distinctive national and international profile, and was the winner of the Bombay Sapphire Design Award some years back. Katrina Sluice is our new, well, not so new now, but a couple of years now, new head of photography and media arts. She was previously the senior curator at the Photographers Gallery, London, and the director of digital media arts at London South Bank University. So very accomplished. And we have Rodrick Bamford, the head of ceramics, who's investigating how digital creative tools affect our aesthetic and psychosocial connections with everyday cultural objects. You can see him here using a clay bot, which is a robot that's laying down ceramic coils to make ceramics. So using his ceramic knowledge in a digital process. And there's me. I'm Ashley Eriksmoen. I'm the head of the furniture workshop. I regularly exhibit internationally and nationally. I specialize in utilizing reclaimed urban timber, meaning city trees that fell down or broken furniture I find on the street, and reconfiguring that in order to address ecological issues. I'm really involved in a lot of cross-disciplinary projects with the sciences. I'm involved with forestry and with ornithology on reclaiming timber and making nesting boxes to replace lost hollow habitat for native birds. So that's an example of how we want our disciplines, even though they're rooted in traditional artistic media, to really reach out into the world and help contribute to very serious problems that we're facing in society and in the environment. So here's just me again, working in the studio, making trees and animal mutant kind of objects from my found and reclaimed furniture works. This project was called Reforestation, How to Make a Tree from a Chair. And we take those kinds of values right down into our classes with our research-led teaching. So my students in furniture, and I'm teaching into sculpture as well, have a real understanding of sustainability issues around the material they're using and addressing those concerns. So please consider putting forward your application to the School of Art and Design. We are having portfolio reviews that some of you might be involved in throughout the day today and other talks. We have instructions on how to apply to the School of Art and Design, and some guidelines around how to register for an interview, what to expect in the interview, and how to submit a portfolio. We don't look at ATAR scores for the single degree in art, in the Bachelor of Visual Arts. We go off of your interview and your portfolio, and that you meet the minimum criteria for entering the university. So in case any of you had some questions on that. You can take a screenshot or a picture of this if you want to start following us on social media and seeing what our staff and students are up to in school and in the community. And I'm just going to stop the share now. So I'm back here. I think you can probably see me. And I'm going to look at the Q&A. So we have a question here. Is there the ability to link the Bachelor of Visual Arts degree with law or politics degree if we have already gotten into the Bachelor of Visual Arts? So great question from Anonymous. So what you would do if you're already in the Bachelor of Visual Arts degree taking courses, you just need to internally go online and apply for a degree transfer. And then what you'd apply to is the flexible double degree program. And you would show, we would see your transcript and your study plan. And we would look on the flexible double degree web page and see what those two degrees, how they align, and what your program of study would be. So if you're already in the Bachelor of Visual Arts degree and you've only been taking the compulsory units to achieve that degree, you'll have loads of space to transfer into a double degree. If you've already been taking things that are electives, like that we can't count directly towards your Bachelor of Visual Arts program or the law / politics program, you'll have some extra courses that we can't kind of pigeonhole into one degree or the other that will just add on to your hex debt. You'll have to kind of just count those as extra courses, because like I mentioned earlier, with the double degree, there aren't electives outside those two programs. That's how we fit it all in just 4 years. So hopefully that answers that question. And I see I have no open questions here. Does anybody else have a question? I'm here. You can email me. My name again is Ashley Eriksmoen, which is not that easy to spell, but I am the convener, the undergraduate convener for the Bachelor of Visual Arts degree. So I can dig into your questions and find either direct your questions to the right person or answer them directly. So my email is, I guess I'll type it into the questions and answers. Oh, can I do that? Let's see. I could type it into the chat, or I can just tell you. My name is Ashley, A-S-H-L-E-Y, full stop, Eriksmoen, E-R-I-K-S-M-O-E-N, at anu.edu.au. So you can just find me on the ANU website by just typing like furniture, and I'll come up under the staff as well. So we don't have any questions popping up right now that haven't been answered in the question and answer section. Unless anybody wants to throw their question in. Oh, open question, great. So a double degree, you will have 2 majors only. Okay, so starting in 2021, when you'd be entering, the Bachelor of Visual Arts degree doesn't have majors. You can concentrate on any area you want, but you have the freedom to pick and choose the courses. So you've got a Bachelor of Visual Arts degree. And it's the same with our design degree, a Bachelor's of Design degree. There's not a major in there. There's just the courses you take. And I don't know in law and politics if you declare a major. Oh, I suppose you might, because those would fall under a Bachelor of Arts Humanities degree. And then you would develop your major through the courses you take to declare that your law or politics is, I believe, how it works. Okay, but I could specialize in painting. Oh, yes, we have a full menu of painting courses that you can choose from, and you could take near all your required studio courses really in painting. And then with your electives, if you're a single degree, you could take, you know, glass, textiles, printmaking, photography, video, whatever floats your boat. We also have been developing more and more interdisciplinary courses. So the course I'm teaching right now with one of my colleagues in sculpture is just called Place, Time, and Wood. It's not a furniture course and it's not a sculpture course. It's both in between those, but it's also taking into a lot of interdisciplinary factors such as forestry management and ecology. And we're doing site installation, and we're also doing some woodworking. So we've got more and more courses that are interdisciplinary as well that you can avail yourself to. Okay, so Karen, let's see. Can you do individual subjects without committing to a full degree? How flexible is the degree? Okay, so yeah, that's probably a question for Max. Our courses aren't open to people just sampling them without having been accepted into the university and enrolled in a degree program. However, many of our students are part-time enrolled. And I think the trick with that is if you're expecting to get youth allowance or Centerlink support, you would have to take at least 3 courses a semester to be considered full-time. So 3 or 4 courses a semester can be considered full-time. But we have students who take 1 course a semester. Furniture seems to be extremely popular with full-grown adults with families. And so we have, most of my students are taking 4 or 5 or more years to do their degree, taking 1 or 2 courses a semester. Let's see. Can you do color pencil and paint in the visual arts degree? So we have in the visual arts degree the print media and drawing department, and we also have the painting department. And in the drawing department, certainly pencil drawing is part of that. And in painting, paint is part of that. All of our areas are quite expansive. Like, so painting in the expanded field might mean that, like Raquel Ormella, one of the painting instructors, you are sewing colored fabric together to make your paintings. What we consider drawing, like in our annual drawing prize, someone might make a drawing using wire as a form of line work, right? So we are very expansive in the ways we think about our disciplines, and we think of our disciplines as living in these expanded fields where they aren't so narrow. Let's see, COVID is making face-to-face workshop studio time impossible. Correct. It's making face-to-face workshop studio time impossible, but we are getting more and more clever at how we engage with the students. So what we've done is we've made like video support for my course, Place, Time, and Wood. We've made video support on how to use whittling knives. We sometimes meet students outside the workshop, like we've had them meet up in a park and to see some benches I had designed that had just been unveiled. We meet up at the cafe, and we've been handing out our whittling knives and doing safety demonstrations at the cafe. And we've just rejigged our courses. So they're not less than they would have been, they're just different. For example, my seating course in furniture that's called Body and Support, we have in our 12 weeks of class this semester, 10 international speakers through my connections with Canada and the United States. So we have top people in the field that are furniture designers lecturing to our students via Zoom, which is just incredible. And we're also just rejigging how they learn. So that course, for example, we've shifted it from being in studio that requires a woodworking machine to at-home model making that takes advantage of all kinds of materials. I had a student yesterday carve a mortise and tenon joint out of carrots. So he showed them to the class on Zoom. It was hilarious. But we're still having fun. It's not an ideal situation to be in COVID times for anyone in any way, I guess, unless you're an online marketer. But we are still doing studio practice. And by next year, we're hoping this will go away. I've accepted the, oh, we've taken care of that. So it's 10:52. I'm supposed to sign off by 11. I don't know if there's any more questions out there, but again, you can email me, Ashley Eriksmoen at anu.edu.au. I'll type an answer. I'm just going to type into the chat here my email address. And that way, if you think of something, I always think of something later. Oh, and behind me here, you can see this is our school. This is our beautiful ANU School of Art and Design. It's a historic building. It's the original Canberra High School. It's got a kind of Art Deco style. It's a really beautiful landmark. Canberra is a great place to live. I used to live in San Francisco and in the San Francisco Bay Area, and they recruited me here. And I have loved living in Canberra. I've given up all the traffic and the violence and the uncertainty of that area. I've been here 9 years, and I just really like Canberra. You can bicycle everywhere without crossing actual street because of our amazing bike trails. The dog loves Canberra because of all the green belts, and if you're not already living in Canberra, I just want to plug Canberra. It's a great place to live. And I'm getting a message that we are supposed to wrap up. All right. Signing out. See you in an email or on campus next year. Thanks for coming.